They don't have a problem taking the money, but they're not going to make you feel bad about it. And there's never a time, like if you feel bad about anything, it's because of what you did down there on those, whatever democracy spreading war crimes you might have done to those bugs and robots. That's what you should feel bad about. Let's get it going, folks. Let's go. This coffee is 136 degrees. I've played video games this week, and you probably have too. This is a video game podcast for adult gamers called The Andy B Show, and I'm so glad you're here. It's time. It's time. It's time to talk about exactly what happened last night. Last night, I did my part. I did my democratic duty. I trained a new cadet, a new space cadet in Helldivers 2 from the Xbox region as a space corporal, a corporal of space. It's my job to take these new cadets under my wing, drop them down to bug-infested planets, and show them the coolest stratagems that I've unlocked that they'll have to grind for a little while. And that's exactly what I did. It was a lot of fun getting together. Three of us got together last night after the kids went to bed online, virtually, on the Hammer of Audacity, which is the ship name that I have in Helldivers 2. And we had the full cross-play experience. One friend was on Xbox, the newly released Helldivers 2 on Xbox. One was on PC, and I was on PlayStation. So it was as cross-play as you could get, unless someone was, I don't know, streaming it over like NVIDIA Game Cloud or whatever that's called. Yeah, it worked seamlessly. You trade friend codes. You generate like a friend code on there. It's like, how does it work cross-play? You know, do they have a big account system? It's very lightweight. You generate a friend code in the Helldivers 2 menu. You add a friend and share the friend code. That's it. All of a sudden, you're playing. You're on each other's ships. I got disconnected at some point because there was like a little audio glitch, a little audio bug, and I was like, well, I should kill this game and come back. And so that's what I did do. And it instantly said, hey, do you want to join back to the group you were with? You know, was that a glitch? Did you mean to drop offline? And the answer was no. So it had a really fast rejoin right back to the mission I was in, back to the ship I was on. And it worked super smoothly. Now you'd expect it. I think the game's been out for like a year. You'd expect them to have ironed out the bugs and the issues. But man, there's a lot going on with Helldivers 2 because not only did they release it on Xbox, and not only did we dive down, my good buddy who was brand new had to start on the trivial difficulty. And so I got to test out some weapons I don't normally mess with. Like when you're on like difficulty like 5, 6, 7, 8, where you start to get the rare samples, not the rare, but like the legendary samples, there's different currencies that you have in the game. And you know, it's not a free-to-play game, and it doesn't play like one. It's the most consumer-friendly game that I think there is. Like, we must have said that like 3 times yesterday. Because at every turn, we're like, oh, yeah, we'd love to get that new Halo Warbond Battle Pass, the little Halo items. And it's like 1,500. They called it a legendary Warbond. It's the first legendary Warbond. Everything else has been a premium Warbond, which costs like 1,000 super credits. But this one was 1,500 super credits. So but as soon as we drop down, we're finding super credits on the planets. You find like 10 or 20 in a run. I think there's maybe up to 50 on any given like mission that you're on, if you can find them all. And it's like, well, you know, if you play the game, 10, 20, 30 credits per mission, you know, it's not long. I guess it is a while before you get to 1,500. What is that? You got to run 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 missions. But if you like the game, you're going to do that anyway. And you can just pay them. You pay them $20 and you can get even the legendary Warbond. It's not that bad. But if you buy any other Warbond, there's super credits inside of them. So like the unlocking of content in the game for a live service game is the most friendly of any live service game there is. No doubt about it. They encourage you to unlock things through the play that you're doing. You can give them money. They will take the money. They don't have a problem taking the money, but they're not going to make you feel bad about it. And there's never a time, like if you feel bad about anything, it's because of what you did down there on those, whatever democracy spreading war crimes you might have done to those bugs and robots. That's what you should feel bad about. You should feel bad about testing the ceremonial parade rifle called the Constitution on your friends because you weren't sure if it actually did any damage. They've released a bunch of new weapons. Mostly they released the weapons through the Warbonds. So the Warbonds are free DLC or DLC that you can pay or purchase with the free bucks that you find on the ground. And that's how you get new weapons in the game. And it was interesting because my buddy that was new, the Xbox buddy, was like, how do you unlock new weapons? And it's like, you got to Warbond it. Now, they give you a huge Warbond for free. And it will take you forever to unlock everything in it. It's the biggest Warbond. All the other Warbonds have like 3 pages of things that you can unlock. This one has like 8 or 10 or 12 pages of unlockable stuff. So there's a ton of free content. And like, hey, if you want a shotgun, that's how you get it. You got to go through the Warbond. How do you get Warbond unlocks? You earn medals. How do you get medals? You do well. So if you are doing missions and completing them, you'll get medals. If you're contributing to like the big missions that the community does, where everybody's like trying to focus on 1 or 2 planets, those things are like community driven missions, and you'll get Warbonds in there, or not Warbonds, but Warbond medals. And when you participate in those, you don't even have to like make a big deal out of it, right? Like if you just show up and play and the community wins, then you end up logging in the next week with like 55 medals to spend in your Warbonds for no reason. Like you played 2 matches that week, the community did all the rest of the work, and now you get 140 Warbonds to spend or medals to spend in your Warbonds. So it's pretty easy to unlock stuff, but there's a lot of it. So you do have to focus. But man, they've done so many Warbonds since I was in there. I guess they're doing like a Warbond a month because there's a lot. And there was one in there that's like a Wild West Warbond with like a really nice Old West rifle, like future Old West rifle and pistol that look real good. There's some costumes. You get this in-universe armor for your Helldiver, but they've got like a nice duster jacket. I'm like, man, I need a duster jacket. So it's nothing crazy. There's no Beavis and Butthead. There's no Walter White skin. Nothing like that. It's nothing. It's very in universe. But when they go stylized, they let you enjoy it with the Warbonds. So the Warbonds are like how you keep unlocking things. You unlock them through play, and you unlock the Warbonds with super credits, and then you unlock the items in the Warbonds with medals. If this sounds confusing, imagine being my good buddy last night who just showed up and played for the first time. So we were all explaining it to him. It was a wonderful time while we're out there shooting things. But my favorite new thing that was, I think, free for the community, I didn't have to unlock it, was this ceremonial parade rifle. If you think about like what the U.S. Navy, like when they go on like, they're flipping the guns around, the Marines, they're tossing them in the air, moving them around. These are, gutted out rifles that they use for parade shows. And they give you one in the Helldivers universe. They say every child at 16 gets one, but they're not gutted out. They do fire. And it said in there that it was a medium armor penetrating rifle. And a medium armor penetrating rifle is like a big deal, right? Because it means you can't bust the tanks or the bug-like tanks with it, but that you can, to kind of take on the medium enemies and like crack their armor with it or shoot through it. So that's a pretty big deal. There's only a few medium, or I think I have like 3 out of like 15 weapons I've unlocked that are medium armor penetrating. So they're not that common. Usually you have to use stratagems or special weapons to have them. So to have a primary weapon that can do medium armor penetration is a big deal. So I took it. That's all I played with last night was stupid ceremonial rifle called the Constitution. And it has 5 shots, and then you have to kind of like reload it individually. And there was an audio bug that I was having where I couldn't hear when I pulled the trigger. I was like, oh, this thing's firing blanks. So I asked my buddy, I was like, can I test it on you? And I shot him in the leg, and it hurt his character. So I found it is real. And as we were working our way up the difficulty, we were letting him lead. We were in his ship, and so when he would launch the missions, he only had access to trivial. It was interesting, kind of starting over in Helldivers. He only had trivial difficulty, and had every time we would do a mission, he could move the difficulty slider up. But of course, for me and my other buddy that were we're veterans of Malevolon. We've been around. We've seen some stuff in Helldivers. We were goofing, we're just having fun because there's no challenge at the trivial level, hence the name. And I was having fun leveling up this constitutional rifle. And that's the other thing, is now you can level up the weapons, which is new from the launch. Like I hadn't played it in months. So you can level up the weapons, level up and choose different attachments. You can get muzzle brakes and red dots sights and all kinds of stuff for your weapons. And it changes the firing pattern. They have this little visual graphic of every time you change something on the gun, here's what it's going to do to the spread pattern if you were to just hold down full auto. And of course, that doesn't count for the Constitution because it is a single shot, per trigger pull rifle. Yeah, so they've added a bunch, and as we moved up the difficulty level, the Constitution was holding up. And there's no attachments on the Constitution. When you level it up, you just get new camos. And that's the kind of thing that made me feel like I was going to be real dumb about using the Constitution rifle for a real long time. One of my favorite things to do in the original Modern Warfare 2, not the new one, but the original Modern Warfare 2, back on the Xbox 360, they had, this is going to be like a gamer confession, like really early in the show today. They had a shield. And if you were there for Modern Warfare 2 and you just heard me say the word shield, I probably just triggered you, like, to be honest. Because when you saw somebody carrying the riot shield, they couldn't carry a primary weapon. The riot shield would take up their primary weapon slot. And it was impenetrable with bullets. So, like, if they were crouched down with a half-person sized riot shield, they crouched behind the riot shield, and you could unload every weapon that you have in that game, sniper rifle, didn't matter. It's not penetrating that riot shield. So if you were clearing a hallway in a multiplayer match, you could have the riot shield in front of you, everybody's standing up over behind you, and it's like it was just a bullet sponge in the front. And then you could walk up with the riot shield to somebody in Modern Warfare 2, and you could kind of like bang your fist against the back of the riot shield to do a melee attack. So it would like blunt force trauma them. So you'd put the riot shield up against them and then punch the riot shield. And then you could take them out that way. And at any point, you could put the riot shield on your back, pull your pistol up. People never knew when you were going to do that. So it was always a mind game. Every time you would walk around a corner with the riot shield, somebody's like, wait a minute, what am I going to, can't shoot through the riot shield. Do I have any grenades left? No, I threw those immediately because it's Call of Duty. I just launched them as soon as I spawned in, right? Nobody's thinking strategically about that. And so it was always this dance. They would fire a bunch, and I would kind of wait like Dirty Harry to hear for the click. Like, did they fire all the rounds in their magazine? Then I'm flipping, the shield over my back, and I'm pulling out the pistol and I'm taking them out. Or do they want to get close? Can I melee them? And so I did an entire prestige, which is where you level from 1 to 50, and then, it recycles, you start back over, of only using the riot shield. That was my commitment, is I would never use a different primary weapon than the riot shield, and I did it. There was no achievement for that. It was just stupid, and I wanted to do it. And it's what makes this ceremonial rifle, this Constitution rifle in Helldivers 2, it kind of makes me think of that, where it's like, this is a real dumb. It's a real dumb weapon. Everybody else has like got laser sighted, auto fire, or actual laser weapons, heat weapons, plasma weapons there. And I'm like, it'd be great leveling up this ceremonial rifle, the Constitution, to a full max level and making everybody pay for it. Well, I think it would be great. I think it would be great to do. So but at some point, we had unlocked the challenge level where the tank-like enemies start showing up, and nobody told me that we moved. I think that's where you move from like, trivial, easy, medium, something challenging. And anyway, you start to get to one where you get the rare samples, and then the big heavy dudes show up. You know, the big tank-like bugs that have heavy armor, which the Constitution can't penetrate with medium armor penetration. And you need something else. So you either need to have brought a special weapon that you can fire that breaks through it. You got like laser rifles. You've got fire and forget, surface to air missiles. You've got stratagems where you can call down, you know, orbital barrages from your ship that's hovering over the planet. There's a lot that you can do. But I didn't bring any of that crap because I forgot. I thought we were on the easy levels, so I didn't bring any of it. And so we made it out barely. That was a tough mission when we kind of realized that was the case. So yeah, I've been doing my part. Training these young recruits. They just need a little help, to be honest with you, in Helldivers 2. And I think as a veteran of Helldivers 2, it's our duty. If you have a friend out there that just started playing on Xbox, it's your job to make sure that they know what to do. In Helldivers 2, go out there and play with them immediately. Make sure it happens. So that's really not the only news, though, about Helldivers 2. They did announce, and I think it's coming out like tomorrow. They said, hey, yeah, last week or this week, you know, I mean, today, this is Monday, September 1st for the AMDB show. And so I think tomorrow, Helldivers 2's like new big update called Into the Unjust is what's coming out. And so they've last week, they've let all the Xbox players in. We've all had our first experiences, you know, shooting our friends with the Constitution parade rifle. And what's happening next, I think tomorrow, maybe the next day, sometime this week, they're releasing Into the Unjust, which I think is the first time there's a big like 8-minute long trailer out there on the internet about what it's going to be like, where it's going. But basically, there's these underground layers that you're going to go into. I don't know why they call it the Unjust, but it does sound cool. But you're going to go underground. And the thing about Helldivers is you're constantly reinforcing from where? From your ships right above. And so when you go underground, guess what you don't have access to? So this is the big twist, is you're going to go underground, clear out some bug nests, and how on earth are you going to get reinforcements? How are you going to get stratagems dropping from the sky if you're, you know, underneath, you know, with the rock and stone? They've said something about like there would be maybe, you know, openings, you know, maybe different little caverns that would reach out to the sky at different points in what is essentially, you know, a cave diving quest. And you'll be able to call in some extra stuff. But this is really going to make you change your loadout, right? Like if you are not able to call in ammo reinforcements all the time, if you're not able to call in personnel reinforcements, what are you going to bring down there that's going to change your strategy? So I think that's really going to mix it up. I'm excited for it. I think the Constitution parade rifle is going to do exceptionally well in subterranean operations, as it's done for thousands of years. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. So if you've been playing Helldivers 2, you know, I hope that you're taking along your friends with you. I hope you're taking along some of these brand new recruits. I think that's important. What else did I play last week? We're just going to keep talking about I've been playing some games. You know, nearly every night after the kids go to bed, I played a little bit of game. I had to do some work during the week, some work late. But not every night. And it's been a holiday weekend. If you're in the US or Canada, maybe elsewhere in the world, it's like Labor Day. And yeah, I've been playing some games. I played some Battlefield 2042 like really early in the week because they had, first of all, Battlefield 6 month and a half away, and they released a free battle pass inside of Battlefield 2042, and they put that Battlefield 2042, if it wasn't already on it, it's on like PlayStation Plus Extra. It's probably on Game Pass. They're like, please come play, you know, Battlefield 2042, which is the futuristic one, and unlock a bunch of free stuff for Battlefield 6. I think that's still going on. They have like this double XP battle pass for free, and you unlock a bunch of stuff for Battlefield 6, which, you know, it's all a grind, right? Like how, you know, if they're not going to carry forward the stuff you unlock, if you're not going to be able to play it with the stuff that you unlock or pay to unlock in some of these games, like what's the point? One of the things that they just announced last week for Call of Duty, I mentioned that in Helldivers, there's no Beavis and Butthead, there's no Walter White, there's no Snoop Dogg in Helldivers 2. It's all fairly in-universe stuff that you can unlock. Call of Duty said, man, we're getting a bunch of backlash and feedback. I'm not really sure if this is just a marketing stunt to take something away and then give it back. But what they said they're going to do in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is they're not carrying forward all of your purchases. So for years now, you've been able to make purchases in Call of Duty that would work in Warzone. And they said it's going to stay in Warzone. They're not going to take away your Beavis and Butthead skins in Warzone. But then in the main game multiplayer, and I guess in the co-op, because it's a 4-player co-op single player in Black Ops 7, which sounds good and bad. They said, hey, we're not bringing any of that wacky, wild stuff over. It's gone too far. We've heard you. It's gone too far. I don't buy it. Give me a break. It does make sense for them to go, let me pull things back together. They do this in comic books all the time, by the way, where someone will get like outsized power. Things will change in such a way where you're like, well, they could never put this universe back together again. And then they'll just go, well, it's together again. Welcome to the new run of All-Star Superman or whatever. And they'll just kind of like retcon or ignore it. And this is the thing about like attention, right? If you're paying attention to something, it influences you. It grows in proportion of importance in your mind. And when you're not paying attention to it, whatever, like it almost like it doesn't exist. The way our brains are wired, that's how it works. Which is why if you remember the movie Marvel Eternals, and no, you don't, because they don't advertise it, they don't talk about it, they don't want you to think about Angelina Jolie being in a Marvel movie. They don't need to retcon that movie. They just don't talk about it anymore. Same effect. They don't need to retcon Beavis and Butthead skins. They just don't put them in the new game. They just go, that's not in here for now. So when you think about the new game, you don't think about Beavis and Butthead skins because it's just not there. And that's what they're doing. They're just going, focus on just the new game. And it is interesting for them to go like, actually, all these purchases that you've made where you felt Call of Duty was a platform, and for years now where you could buy skins and always bring them forward, you can no longer do that. So it is a big change for people that are like kind of invested in it. And I think they're going to give it 6 months, however long it takes for people to go, yeah, I'd like to buy Call of Duty Black Ops 7. That looks good. It looks a little more realistic. It looks a little more grounded. It looks kind of like Battlefield 6, but please like Call of Duty. Well, guess what? It looks grounded for now, but it's not going to stay that way forever. They're going to retcon that. September 1st, 2025, go ahead and write it down. At some point, the Beavis and Butthead skins will be playable, like you'd expect in Black Ops 7 multiplayer. It's going to happen because they would like for you to buy that thing again. And if it's not Beavis and Butthead, it's wackadoo skins, right? It's stuff that's, you got a dragon costume on, whatever the weird thing is. It's going to happen. They make too much money doing it. It's too unique. Nobody wants to buy nobody. It's goofy. And they've done it for a long time for reasons, because it works and it sells, because people want to look like, something crazy while they shoot you in a Call of Duty arena. They want to look that way. And it's funny and it sells. So they're taking it away to temporarily, I contend. They say forever, but only diamonds are forever. We'll get to the James Bond news later in the show. I think that they're gonna bring it back. Battlefield 2042. You thought I forgot. Battlefield 2042 has this unlock stuff that you can't carry forward, but you are going to unlock some stuff right now in Battlefield 6. And they've said, there was a news article that came out that said, oh yeah, maybe Battlefield 2042 is going to be a platform game. And that'll be, something that we'll just build on for forever. But then they also said, somebody at EA, so they'd like to make it an annual franchise. And it's like, well, what is the platform if the franchise becomes annualized? And I don't think they can get out a Battlefield game every year. I don't think they can. If you can get out a Battlefield game every year, give me Titanfall 3. Just one of those years. I'll buy it in US dollars. I'll pay extra. I'll buy the $100 version. Titanfall 3. But if they're going to make it an annual franchise, what makes it a platform? For Call of Duty, it's been, well, if you buy skins and extras and fancy guns, it'll carry forward. And the platform effectively is your purchases. Now, they've had Warzone to carry it through as well, right? Warzone is kind of like this layer over the top, that battle royale type game. And that's been the platform, really. But effectively as a user, if it wasn't for Warzone, what would be the platform? And it would be the skins and the extra things that you would buy that would carry forward. Well, what if they don't carry forward? What's the platform? For Call of Duty, it's still Warzone. For Battlefield, it's what they've said they're going to do, a 1 versus 100 or a battle royale type gameplay. And that could be the platform that carries people forward. I still don't think that's what people want to play Battlefield for, is 1 versus 100. I will do that. But like Battlefield, what they did with the multiplayer beta was, I think they're going to sell very well. I think they showed that they really get it and they get what people liked about 2, 3, and 4. So what's the platform? If you come up with a new one every year, they do need to come up with new boxes. The platform can be the purchases. Platform could be a battle royale mode. There's got to be some kind of through line, some kind of thread. If it all starts over, then who's putting money into these cosmetics? Like if you just think a new one's coming every year and none of your stuff carries over. They've said the Battlefield cosmetics are going to be like very toned down, very in-universe, very real. And it's like, okay, fine. But like one mil-spec, group of skins is the same as the other one. Like who cares? In Helldivers, and I'm going to get off talking about Battlefield, Call of Duty, and Helldivers someday, but there's a lot going on with them right now. And I'm playing Helldivers, so I'm going to talk about it. And the DLC and the way that it connects to the game is interesting to me. And if you're still listening to me, it's interesting to you. Yeah. With Helldivers, though, Helldivers 2 is absolutely a platform. It's a live service game. There's no indication that they have or would need a Helldivers 3 at any point until such time as they go, well, we can't do what we want to do with this game technology anymore. And then if that's the case, sometimes you just update the technology in place, or you make a cut and go, hey, this game works here or will no longer work. There's been some live service games that have been cutting out these older consoles lately. I don't think you can really do that. I think you can do that if you're a free-to-play game. I think you can really do that if you're Helldivers 2. Like we've upgraded the game in Helldivers 2 so much that it no longer works on the console you bought it on. Like, outrage. Be outrageous. Yeah. Helldivers 2. Really good. Battlefield 6 might be good. Battlefield 2042 if you want some free stuff and some fun. Pretty fun. What else did I play this week? Oh, yeah. I played the new demo of Luminous Arise. So Luminous, apparently, as I mentioned in the Gaming 411 newsletter this week, and you can go to the link in the show notes or to andrew.m.b. Patreon.com/The Andy B Show. Excuse me. How can I forget? Patreon.com/The Andy B Show if you want to get the Gaming 411 newsletter for free. It's a weekly newsletter that comes out on Saturday mornings, written by me, not AI. And I talked about the new Luminous demo in there. They only have 3 levels of multiplayer mode, but it looks a lot at first like Tetris Effect did a few years ago. And I had to look it up. I was like, why is that? Oh, it's because it's from Enhance, which is the publisher that was founded by the person that made Rez and Luminous, and now Tetris Effect. And apparently it's going to be like VR headset, like ready. And I don't know that I'm plunking down for a VR headset and a second VR headset. But man, this new Luminous demo, if you liked the first Luminous, and I did, there's a lot going on in this one. The music is already crazy. It's the kind of game you need to play with headphones on. They say or surround sound system, but I don't think so. I think it's headphones. And apparently some people are like, yeah, or VR. So maybe. But there's so much going on. In Tetris Effect, this screen, I would say the gameplay screen was like pretty chill until all the effects around the gameplay screen went wild. This is my recollection. I should go turn Tetris Effect back on and see how it compares. But this new Luminous, like, there's so much going on, and the game board kind of zooms in and out with the beats a little bit. I would think it would make me seasick. And someone said, like, they can't handle the motion. Like, it's too much. And I can believe that. But as someone that can handle the motion, that's blessed without the, the vertigo inducing feeling that this might cause in some others, it is the craziest looking, feeling, and sounding game. Like, I cannot believe that this exists, or that when I get into the zone of playing Luminous Arise, that it feels as good as it could. So Luminous, if you don't recall, Luminous is a puzzle game. It's like Tetris in that it's more like Dr. Mario, really. In Dr. Mario, you would move the pill around and then drop it to kind of make matches and make groupings of the same color or tile of pill, and then they would disappear like Tetris. But this game, Luminous, has never disappeared like Tetris. So when you make the matches in color, if you make like 4 in a row or more in a kind of a square or a series of rectangles, it'll kind of group them up and it'll go like, hey, this one's good. You made the match. But it doesn't clear it. The only thing that clears it is this rotating line that goes horizontally across the screen from left to right. And if you have made a match, when the line crosses across the screen, it will then absorb the match that you've made. So you could get more points by stacking up a ton of matches before the line sweeps across. And the line sweeps across at a certain pace or speed. And it feels like you're editing music, or that you're in like a music editing software in a way where like the line's constantly moving. It's going back and forth. We're looping this beat, And so there's a huge element of timing. There's a huge element of some Tetrisy and Dr. Mario skills in there. But yeah, I could absolutely believe that this one is causing trouble for folks if you've got like some sensory issues. Like it's good, and it's also like really wild. Like it's wild to think of how much it's moving and how tough it could be if you're somebody that's got some sensory issues for it. One more thing that I've been playing, and then we'll get into some gaming news. I've been playing Hollow Knight, and a lot of Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight Silksong, the sequel to Hollow Knight, like 7 years later after the original game came out, is coming out Thursday this week, September 4th. And I've been doing my best in the interstitials to try and catch up. Hollow Knight came out a long time ago. Restarted this save in Hollow Knight like several times. Just due to various reasons, right? Like one save got orphaned on the Xbox Game Pass version of the game. I bought it again on Switch. I made it pretty far in, but then realized that I couldn't take video. Like the video settings in Hollow Knight on the Switch is restricted for some reason. Like it'll let you take photos, but not video, which really upsets me because the game's beautiful. I want to show it off. And I kind of want to record because the bosses are just tough as nails. Like when I beat one, I kind of want like a little memory of it. Like I want to go like, yeah, I got you. I captured your soul, and here it is on Threads where you can follow me. at andrew.m.b. So I started it again. So I've played the intro to this game like 3 times over the years. So I started again on PlayStation, where I don't know if I own it or if it's just part of PlayStation Plus, but it turns out if you know where to go, you can catch up to where you were pretty fast. Like once you know all of the opening areas, because this is effectively a search action or Metroidvania game where you can't go everywhere right at first. You have to unlock new powers, you have to unlock new abilities to be able to traverse the world in certain areas, and also the map is grayed out and unknown to you when you start, so you don't really know where to go unless you really just remember. But I remembered enough to kind of get me to the City of Tears, which is probably, I think I was maybe 10 to 12 hours into the game the first time, and this time I got to the City of Tears and fought the Soul Mantis or whatever. Probably in about half that time, maybe like 6 hours, something like that. So it's making some pretty good movement. But the bosses are hard as nails. You have to learn the patterns. You have to learn like when you can heal. You have to learn if your boss has like a second phase and maybe you should have healed. But they're not dead. So much of the game is like just traversal and finding the upgrades, finding the pathways. But at some point, you will have unlocked enough and gone far enough to find one of these big bosses. And when you do, prepare to die. Prepare to try it again a few times because it's not easy. It's really not. But it is fun. And there's so many people that I'm seeing trying to play through it the first time, or they're thinking about finishing it for the first time, or replaying it right before the new one comes out. So it's another one of these games. Like there's been a few this year where sequel came out 5 to 7 years ago, Death Stranding, now Hollow Knight. And it's like, well, maybe we should revisit the old game. Maybe we never finished it. And as adult gamers, we have a lot of games that we'll start and get distracted and then never come back to. And Hollow Knight was one. So this is the best run I've been on. Somebody asked me yesterday, they said, hey, you can finish this game before the new one comes out? Probably not. But it's been a lot of fun trying. So yeah, the answer is probably not. But I did just unlock this crazy dash thing. It's called like the Crystal Heart Dash. So that's been a lot of fun. It's a good game. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back with some game updates. There's some just good shout out and game updates I want to talk about. A little bit of gaming news. Not much gaming news. There's gaming news coming. But holiday week, I think most of the corporations are like, oh, slow it down. Let's get out for the holiday. And then we got some community spotlights, some people to show off and talk about. So be right back and welcome back. So glad you're still here. Let's talk about No Man's Sky for a minute. We got some game updates. These are like kind of quick hit game updates I'd like to share with you. Just things that I'm paying attention to. A lot of things that we talk about here in the show. If you want some exclusive or deeper dive views, you can go to, you can just search for the Gaming 411 newsletter. It's out there. And you'll hear about some of these things from me, but some of them don't fit in there. And we'll just talk about them on the show. No Man's Sky had a big update called the Voyagers update. So this just happened where they're basically letting you have ships that you can walk around in and customize, which No Man's Sky has been around a long time. I thought this already existed. I thought you could already walk around your ship or build your own ship or do spacewalks. But guess what? It's all brand new. So you can do all that stuff now. So if you're in a No Man's Sky, and I get, they put it on sale this weekend, and I got real close to going, oh, maybe I should download No Man. And I said, no, Andrew, focus, try and finish Hollow Knight. Come on, man. But it looks pretty good. One of the things that people liked a lot about that Skyrim space game, what's that called? Starfield, was you could customize the ships and customize them in a really interesting way. Well, here you can definitely customize them. Yeah. And then walk around in space. So if you're into No Man's Sky, congratulations. There's more free content there for you. So I wanted to call out that one. But there's games coming to PlayStation Plus in September. So I'd like to call those out. When they're coming out, we'd like to talk about them. And these are the games where you don't have to be on PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium. I try to be careful about like saying these games are on PlayStation Plus, and then I got corrected 1 week by Obi Wamble Kenobi, who we hang out with on Threads, and he said no, like that's only on Extra. You got to pay way more. It's like, okay, these are the ones that he's right. These are the ones that are on all the tiers. So Premium, Extra, and Essential. If you're a PlayStation Plus member at all, you get these. Psychonauts 2. I played the first level of Psychonauts 2 when it came out, and it's like you're in somebody's head. It's a game where you like dive in to somebody's psyche and then you try and solve mysteries. It's like a psychic detective agency. It's a platforming game. It was like a dentist, and there was all this teeth in his brain, like just weird teeth stuff. Too weird. I can give it another shot. Stardew Valley. This is neat. If you're one of the people that still hasn't bought Stardew Valley, it could be your time. It's going to be my time. I think maybe I bought it once. I can't remember, but I've definitely never made the whole farm, you know? And then Viewfinder. Someone told me about Viewfinder. Viewfinder's coming out, and they said, oh, it's like The Witness, if you remember The Witness, which was an island where you solved all kinds of environmental puzzles, and so much of it had to do with perspective, which was amazing, but also it got really hard. They said Viewfinder is a little more structured. There's like levels, and you use the viewfinder and the camera to line things up with the perspective, and you solve the puzzles that way. So that seems pretty good. Looking forward to those. Those come out. Those are the PlayStation Plus games for September. There was one other like game update I wanted to talk about. We'll hit some news and some community spotlight. And it was with Blood of Dawnwalker. Blood of Dawnwalker is like a vampire. So if you're into vampires, it's made by a group of ex-CDPR, that's CD Projekt Red folks. So, you know, people that made The Witcher have now made, well, they've almost made. They've made a lot of. They've made enough to have an interview on IGN.com. There's an interview here, an article by Matt Purslow. Got posted a few days ago. And the big thing that they were talking about here was 30 Days and 30 Nights. So this game looks like it's probably too dark and scary for me, maybe. But if you're into The Witcher, like so I'm interested in it conceptually. And this made me even more interested conceptually. Probably not to actually play it. Maybe. We'll see. But 30 Days and 30 Nights, they basically say, hey, the game is going to take place over this many days, and that's it. And so, like, your family is held in this castle. Are you going to be able to save them? How many side quests can you go on? You think about something like The Witcher or other RPGs, Fallout, any of these other ones. You could be, there's some folks that are like, yeah, I never finished the main quest. You know, I played that game for weeks of real in-game time, and I never beat the game, or I only beat these quest lines, or I just did my thing. And so this one said, no, there's 30 days and 30 nights. And I was like, Dead Rising, is that you? If you remember Dead Rising, that was a video game about killing zombies in a mall, the Willamette Mall, actually, in Willamette, Colorado. And you're a reporter who's covered wars, you know. And famously, you go down to the Willamette Mall, drop in by helicopter, and try and figure out what's going on inside. But then you end up becoming this like increasingly high-leveled zombie killer. And it's a lot of fun. But that game runs on a timer. There's 3 days. It doesn't run in real time. It's like an accelerated clock, but the clock is always ticking. And the game is orchestrated in such a way, which you don't realize right at first, that everything that's going to happen in the game happens whether you're there or not. Certain characters live or die. Certain events take place whether you observe them or not. So it's like Groundhog's Day. It's the Groundhog's Day of zombie killing video games in a, 2000s era mall. Maybe a late 90s era mall. And that created an incredible structure that gave some people a lot of stress. And then some people were like, I want to figure out everything that happens inside this mall. And can you save everybody? There's achievements for saving everybody. Well, that means you have to have a certain route, and you have to be able to hit the route. And that means there's some days, because you don't have all of the abilities, you haven't leveled up enough, or you haven't figured out everything, where you're really groundhogging Groundhog Daying that game. You like, you know what? This time I'm just grinding zombies. This time I'm just leveling up this skill. This time I'm just exploring to figure out where everything's at. And certain ones of these survivors are just going to die, and that'll be okay. When I die, or when the time runs out and I respawn, I'll come back with new XP. I didn't realize until just now, Dead Rising is a roguelike, but it's a roguelike with a timer. So like because when you wake back up, you've got your abilities. And the level up that happens with those abilities, in addition to your knowledge, your actual practical knowledge of where everything's at inside this mall. But the timer never stops. So, uh, you know, I remember there was this tunnel where you could bring a car down there and drive through and just kill a ton of zombies like really, really fast. And there was, I did zombie runs. I would just tunnel runs, boop, 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 knocking them all out to level up. And that was how I spent that Groundhog's Day. So I was like, okay, is the Blood of Dawnwalker going to be Dead Rising? And it was very controversial, the timer. Some people did not like that. And so here's what they've done that's kind of different in Blood of Dawnwalker, or what they're going to do. So how it works is you have 30 days and 30 nights, but the clock doesn't tick. So this is from this IGN.com article. This is a quote from the game director. He says, "We were thinking that if time would flow naturally, it might be quite unpleasant. The playstyle would change on the go from human to vampire, then back to human, because at night you're a vampire. Constantly without your input, so that's where time as a resource came in." The article goes on to say, "It's best to think of time in the Blood of Dawnwalker as a currency rather than a stopwatch. It's a bar split into 8 sections and displayed in the upper right corner of the screen, and it represents your daily allowance of that currency. And if you perform a significant action that's marked with an icon, hourglass icon, then it'll spin a section of the bar. So effectively, time stays still. It'll constantly stay day or constantly be night until you do enough like consequential stuff. So that's very interesting, like as a game mechanic. I don't think I've ever really seen that before. Maybe somebody else has. It's out there. So Blood of Dawnwalker, still just keeping an eye on it. Like, we'll see. A couple other quick hit gaming news things. There's a rumored Nintendo Direct coming up for mid-September. People are wondering, is it Metroid Prime 4? Are they ever going to release this thing? Don't know. Tokyo Game Show comes up late September, so maybe there's some more stuff coming out there. And then hot off the press this morning, they said there's a PlayStation State of Play this Wednesday, and they're going to do 30 minutes of the 007 First Light. So gameplay. That's what they said. They're promising. So that's this Wednesday. Everybody's going to come back from the Labor Day holiday, take a day to game plan it, and then Wednesday they're going to kick it off. So PlayStation will be doing their final checks tomorrow, and then we'll hear all about it on Wednesday. So if you're interested in 007, and who isn't, then check it out Wednesday. I'm going to be tuning in, see what that's going on. All right, we're at a community spotlight. As you may know, if you listen to this podcast, not on YouTube, and this is an audio first podcast. Like if you listen on Spotify, I do share stuff on the screen. I'll share gameplay stuff in the background or whatever of, my journey through a game if I've been playing it and documenting it on threads. Or, if I'm like talking about a game that's got like a big, long, deep dive video, I might have it playing in the background. But I think of the show as like an audio show first. So I try not to call out things that I'm happening and seeing only on screen. Sometimes I fail and do it anyway. But I try to think about, and when I listen to the show back, I listen to it in my car so that I can kind of hear how it sounds as an audio show. So my focus is on audio. I do video. I try to look good. I shave. I try to make sure there's nothing in my teeth. I try to show things on screen because on Spotify, you can switch between the audio and the video. And about 50% of you that listen to me on Spotify flip back and forth between it. If you catch me on YouTube, that's where a lot of people like to watch or listen to the show. That's fine. Try to make it interesting. But it's not really like a YouTube video. It's a podcast on YouTube. So I want the audio quality to be pristine. I want it to be a listening experience where if you watch me on YouTube, you can tab away and just listen to me, and you're not going to have to watch the show if you don't want to. And it's not a talking head. Like at some point I'll have guests on the show, because why not? And that'll be maybe a little bit different. Maybe you want to see other faces besides this face. That's fine. But I try to make it an audio first show. It is a podcast. I do want to. I've upgraded a couple of things here. I'm probably going to try and do a couple of like actual YouTube videos. It'll probably be a lot like me just talking, but it'll be very focused. It won't be a stream of consciousness, a podcast stream like this, where you're getting a front to end experience that week of the Andy B show. A YouTube video is different. It's, you're going to focus on a topic, maybe two topics, but it's different. And I know it's different, because if I make a video that hits on YouTube, it's because it's the least podcasty sounding video I've got. Anyway, I'm trying to keep it all high quality and separate for you. But all that to say is, when you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcast or Overcast FM or wherever you get your podcasts, the audio primary version of it, I get stats for that. And 2.5% of my listeners that listen to the podcast version, not YouTube, are from the United Kingdom. So pip pip and bangers and mash to all of you that are in the United Kingdom. I want to come visit you someday. Maybe not you, the listener. I don't know. Like, maybe we could hang out. But me and Mrs. B want to get out there to the UK at some point. We've been married for a long time, and we said we were going to do it for our 20th wedding anniversary, and just due to events, didn't. But I think we should. We should come out there and see another country. Two more things in the community spotlight. So thank you for everybody in the UK that's listening. I appreciate you. And I can't wait to be a tourist that you don't like in the country. I promise to be respectful. This one was fun. We had a little community spotlight. And when I say community spotlight, sometimes it's people that are commenting on my stuff. Sometimes it's just people I see on Threads or elsewhere that I think they're just living life as an adult gamer. I like to call it out. This person is Coker US. And he said on Threads, "Why do I, a 38-year-old man, play video games? Because last night after dinner, I made a 50 light year blind jump into uncharted space, found a Class A star orbited by a pair of Class 4 gas giants. On one of these gas giants, 350 times the mass of our own planet, I found a gaseous layer teeming with ammonia-based radiotropic plankton. The joy of discovery of finding life in a place totally inhospitable to humans. And for a moment in time, I wonder what it would be like to be a free-floating piece of plankton, feasting on the abundant radiation given off by one of the rarest stars in our galaxy." And then I went to bed. I woke up and I went to work. Like, you can, now you might say, well, books can do that. Not with the agency that you have in these big games. Not with the agent. It's only what people, what is brought to you. That's what you can get to. So it is special. We had a couple of comments here that I'd like to call out from a short. I put up a short on YouTube and TikTok. Also, this was from last week, where I said, look, we need more mobs in video games. It's helpful for folks. We just talked about Helldivers at the top of the show and how fun it is to get with a group and play. Everybody contributes. And in multiplayer games where it's only sweats that can contribute, it's really rough. And Titanfall 2, and the first Titanfall, did it right. You didn't have to be the absolute best at playing the game to contribute significantly to a match. So I talked about it last week. I made a little clip of it for the internet. There's a bunch of comments I just wanted to call out. Here's one from Churndat Butta. He said, "Based thought, it is still a really good game, Titanfall is. It needs a third installment, and it's too bad that that's what Apex Legends is. Apex Legends, the live service, three-person squad battle royale game, is just tough, man. It's tough to know that that exists and Titanfall 3 doesn't. Peasant Thought says Titanfall 3 was canceled because they redirected the funding toward a certain crappy battle royale game and a few other crappy games. Yeah, that's right. Look, EA's got to make their choice about where the games go. I get it, and where the money goes, but it really is upsetting that we don't get a Titanfall 3. And if there's other games that I don't know about that have, this is the same clip. I'm going to read some more comments from TikTok. Man, I got a lot of comments on TikTok about this one. Yeah, if there's other games like this, like, let me know. Like, let me know what you find, because I want to make sure that games where everybody can contribute in the multiplayer gets highlighted. Trish says EA realized they could milk the battle royale train with Apex Legends and canned all development on TF3. One of the many reasons I despise Apex Legends, because its very existence means we'll never get another Titanfall game. Could be. Somebody says, great video, man. I could almost hear you over the music. Good job. I've been experimenting putting music in the videos because turns out people like a little music background, but I didn't turn it down enough. You make some good points, Radio Face says, but it's kind of hard to hear you over the music. So when I put the music on under these videos, I'll put it at like 20% volume, but this one sounded good at full volume, and then it turns out it was too distracting. So somebody said, I don't know what any of that stuff means, but when I play any PvP game, I play the role of the bait. I will run out, spray and pray, rush enemies, knowing I'll die, but it's okay because my entire team is behind me. The enemy just showed them where they are, and I might go 5 and 27. That's 5 kills, 27 deaths, but I don't care. The people behind me got a kill, and we won. It's not an objective score that you can measure, but when it is, I'll get my MVP. It's a team player right there. You know, recognize user 8061768302011. Somebody said, oh, Splatoon is like this. Old Soul Online says Splatoon is like this. You might be awful at slaying, but just painting and pushing forward helps the slayers do their jobs. Great design, amazing design that doesn't hinder good players or artificially boost bad players. Rhett says Battlefield is like that too. And I guess it is, right? Because it says you can res a medic or you can just capture. That's true. Yeah. People felt very strongly like this was probably one of my most popular posts across the YouTube and TikTok this week. I got a lot of comments. Like, people are really missing Titanfall 2, and they want multiplayer games where they don't have to be the absolute best. They want to be able to contribute without feeling like they have to be a sweat or, again, adult gamers. We got kids, we got career, we got family, we got exercise, we got community involvement, everything else. And you don't have time to get amazing at these games. You just want to have a good time for a little while you play. And so games that do multiplayer and give you a way to contribute, keep away these single player only vibes of the world. I like a lot of single player games, but the multiplayer can be fun so long as you don't feel like you're just getting crushed, And that's the show, everybody. We talked about a lot, mostly what I've been playing, Battlefield, Hollow Knight, and some Helldivers too. You've been playing these? There's a bunch of news that's coming up, including this week, Tokyo Game Show. We got a PlayStation State of Play for 007 coming up this week. And of course, you got this show to carry you over, man. If there's nothing else going on in the games industry, you can just tune in and listen to what I'm thinking. So thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. You can go to the Patreon, patreon.com/the Show. What's going on there this week? You can read the newest Gaming 411 newsletter for free. That comes out every week on Saturdays. And we did launch a new early access episode this week. So you have to be a paid subscriber to get that. You can support the show by becoming a friend of the show tier, and you get access to all of the early access episodes. The latest one, I talked about what really happened in the 1994 Blockbuster Video Game World Championship and my part in it. You don't want to miss that story. So it's out there on the Patreon for you. Thanks for listening. Also, what are we doing next week? I gotta buy Silksong before I beat Hollow Knight. I don't think so. The price is right on Silksong, only $20. They've said it's going to be. I don't know how they don't cap. Greed is dead, everybody. Hollow Knight, Silksong is proving that not everything is about greed. $20 for that game. So that comes out Thursday. I'll probably wait to buy it until I actually finish Hollow Knight. I'll punish myself to finish Hollow Knight first. But I can't wait to figure it out. Like, if you're going to play Hollow Knight, if we're all playing Helldivers next week, I hope so. Thank you for listening. I can't wait to see you next week. Bye-bye.